Okay, the photographers can stay in for the first question, then we'll ask them to leave. The press conference is embargoed until half an hour, so nothing to go out live. Okay, if you'd like to put your hand up.
You recently got Romelu Lukaku. First of all, what does he bring to the team going forward for this season? What do you expect from him? And second, in the past, you've been compared to another player that you had previously, Didier Drogba. What do you think about those comparisons, and do you think he's that type of player?
I don't compare. I don't compare at all. One had his history, and this one is still in the beginning of his history. What he brings was hopefully goals. He's the kind of player that everybody knows that he's a striker. So we are not speaking about a multifunctional player or a player that we can adapt or we can create doubts about positions on the pitch. He's a striker. So normally strikers, they score goals, and the reason why he is so important and he was difficult to get is exactly what he did in the Premier League, because obviously there are other good strikers in football, but the Premier League is a very specific habitat, a difficult habitat for strikers. Normally they need some time to adapt, and Lukaku plays in the Premier League for the last 4 or 5 seasons. So now he comes to a club with different responsibilities than Everton or West Bromwich Albion. And I think he comes in the right moment of his career because he's still a young player, but he has years of experience in the Premier League, also with the Belgium national team. Is now his first step into Champions League competition, which was also his main motivation. So the fact that we qualify for Champions League maybe played also an important role.
Okay, can the photographers now leave, please? Thank you.
Jose, do you think you had a lot of draws last season, particularly in the league, although you had a great unbeaten run? Is he the sort of player who can turn those draws into the wins?
Let's try. He's not a player that participates a lot in the building up. He's a player that normally plays in the last third, and we had so many opponents, especially at Old Trafford, that they decide clearly to defend in their low block, in their defensive third, closing spaces, playing with lots of defenders and defense midfield players, and we had just on Zlatan that target man, but by his qualities he was dropping back, he was coming in between the lines, he was participating in that building up. But really, I think especially for the characteristics of the Premier League, we need a target man, which is not Martial, which is not Rashford. We have options, good players, but target man, the clear 9, the one that is comfortable to play in the box, comfortable to play with the back to the defensive line. We thought that Romelu would be a very good option for us.
Jose, hi, nice to see you. You mentioned there that Romelu was hard to get. What role did you personally play in persuading him that he should come to United?
I did nothing. I didn't negotiate. It was Mr. Woodward that negotiated with Romelu, with his agent, and with the Everton board. Everything was done by Mr. Woodward. The only thing I did was to call him when the situation was almost there, just to guarantee him that he will be an important player in my in my team, and it's quite a great experience, the fact that we played together, we worked together already for a few months, and during the time where I was at Chelsea and at Man United, and he was at Everton, our relationship was always very close, in spite of didn't work very well for us together. The relation was good, he's intelligent, he's polite. We kept always the contact, we kept always the good feeling, and now we are back. We are back together in different moments of his career and in my career, in different circumstances. And I have no doubt that it is going to work, because as I told him, and to Lindelof, I told them both in the day we started, that they were very lucky, very, very lucky to belong to such a group. And I'm not saying they are lucky because of their that they don't deserve it by the professional point of view, because they did very well at Everton and Benfica to deserve to come to a giant like Manchester United. I told them they were lucky because the group is really special group, and is amazing for a player to change club and to feel that the group is really fantastic, and that's what they are feeling after 3 or 4 days, and it looks like they are here for a long time.
Jose, Zlatan Ibrahimovic's recovery seems to be going very well. Is there a possibility he could stay at the club?
Possible. He's open. He's open. Of course, we wanted to be honest and open and let everything for him to make a decision in case of his desire was to leave. So there was not new contract, was a space of time for everybody to think, to feel, to decide. And from his point of view, he made the decision of want to play still football at the highest level. Didn't want to hide behind such an amazing injury. Would be easy for him to hide behind it and to say it's time to stop, it's time to go to a different level of football. He didn't want that. He was not happy with the way he finished the season, of course with his first European trophy, but not playing. And he made the challenge for himself of wants to keep playing at the highest level. Obviously, we open our door for him to recover with us. Obviously, Old Trafford, Carrington is open for him to recover with our people and to be one of us. And at the same time, let's make a decision that make us all happy. And if that decision is for him to stay and for us to wait, let's say, until December, maybe, because I don't think before December he can be back to competitive football. But why not for us to wait for such a good player that gave us so much? So we are speaking, we are changing ideas, and again is in the hands of Mr. Woodward and Zlatan agent. But the important thing is that the final decision is the best for the player.
Jose, all of the clubs are strengthening again this summer. One of the best rivalries in the history of the Premier League is undeniably Manchester United and Arsenal. Both had very poor seasons in the Premier League last year, but won domestic trophies. You also won Europa League. I think fans would love to see that rivalry reignited, Arsenal strengthening, you strengthening too, both teams looking to do much better in the league this year. Who do you see as your biggest rival going into this new season, and what kind of opinion do you have with regards to how Wenger was treated last season by Arsenal fans and also the media?
That's a lot of questions.
We women like to talk a lot, huh?
You know, first of all, I think that after the champion, Chelsea was a champion. I think Man United is the second club that we can say most successful last season, and Arsenal the third. For me, that's absolutely clear. To finish second or third or fourth is like being the first, the second, and the third of the last, because there is only one winner. And a part of Chelsea, Arsenal won the competition. We won 2.5 competitions, like I like to say. So I think the other clubs, if somebody has to prove this season, is the ones that they won nothing. So they have to improve to win something. Rivals, I think everybody is, not just them. Not just them. Every club in the Premier League is powerful. Every club has money to buy. Every club has money to refuse to sell. And sometimes people focus on what you buy and what you sell, and people doesn't focus have the power to keep it, to keep the players and to refuse to sell. And I think the market is so strange. Very good players to buy, not many. The prices are absolutely out of context. So the clubs with the power of not to sell, refuse to sell, I think they are one step ahead. And there are many clubs in the Premier League in these circumstances, they simply refuse to sell their best players, and that is fantastic and makes the competition so hard. So I think everyone is an opponent. I think every match is a difficult match. In every match you have the risk of lose, and that's why the Premier League is the Premier League. So very enjoyable. The way Wenger was treated, I think 2 more years of contract, fantastic treatment. And that's what every manager wants. Every manager wants the club to be strong, the club to be strong enough to make their own decisions and to forget the media opinion, to forget the pundits' opinion, to forget the supporters' strength. And I think Mr. Wenger got it exactly what every manager would like to do it. Strong club, you are going to stay 2 more years of contract and conditions to work and to try to win titles again. So I think fantastic treatment by Arsenal board, and that is what is deserved, and that is what every manager wants.
Aquí, José. Buenas tardes. Melchor Ruiz, de la cadena COPE de Madrid, España. Quería preguntarte, se ha hablado durante un mes prácticamente del interés del United por Morata. Finalmente se dice que no se ha llegado por un acuerdo económico. Álvaro está muy triste y quería saber si tú lamentas también esa opción, si ha sido así realmente el tema económico. Y me ha parecido entenderte que todavía el mercado estaba abierto. Con la llegada de Lukaku, imagino que lo de Morata ya está cerrado definitivamente, ¿no?
Do I answer in Spanish or in English?
Spanish.
Si puedes español, te lo agradecería.
No, yo me cuesta hablar de un jugador que no es nuestro. Me cuesta. Porque Morata no es nuestro jugador. No soy nadie para hablar de un jugador que es del Real Madrid. Si hemos tenido interés, es obvio, es público. Y que no hemos llegado a un acuerdo económico es lógico y obvio también, pero es un derecho del Real Madrid de pedir por sus jugadores la cantidad que quiere. No somos nosotros que ponemos precio a un jugador del Real Madrid, es el Real Madrid que lo hace. Y no se ha llegado a un acuerdo y punto. Y no tengo ni críticas a hacer al Madrid, ni críticas a hacer a mi board, because mi board ha hecho la oferta o las ofertas que pensaba que eran las ofertas justas, han tentado llegar a un acuerdo durante algún tiempo. no han llegado, as simple as.
Jose, welcome back to UCLA.
Thank you.
You've been here a lot. What keeps bringing you back to UCLA? And second part is, from a purely training standpoint, couldn't you get more accomplished by staying at your center in Manchester as opposed to traveling around the world like you do every summer?
You know, a preseason is a mixture of factors, of ingredients. If you stay in Manchester, the facilities obviously are good. We are at home. But at the same time, commercially, is not good. And there is another factor that is really important for us, which is for the players to be together 24 hours per day during 2.5 weeks. We focus just on work and rest and make the group and know each other and welcome the new people, try to make them adapt as soon as possible. And in here we have everything. The facilities are very good. The organization is very good, because sometimes facilities are good, but the organization is chaotic. Real event, since 2004, I'm still searching for the first mistake. The first mistake never arrives. Is amazing. The players, they like to come here. By the social point of view, is also good, because as you know, this country gives us soccer people a little bit of a freedom that we don't have in other places. The players, they can walk outside, they can sit in some place and having a drink together. They can go out and shopping. They can have a little bit of a social life. Opponents are good, because the two American teams, they are in the middle of their competition, so it's good for us to play tired people against fresh people. It's very good for us, because they are going to play at a higher speed, at a high intensity, and will be difficult for us to cope with that. Plus, altitude in Salt Lake is also one more difficult factor for us. And then we train, because I prefer in this moment the word we train, against some of the best clubs in the world, against some of the best players in the world. And that is good for us, because we are going to be back to Champions League. And in Champions League we are going to a different reality than in the Europa League. Europa League, very difficult to win, but for other reasons. In Champions League is where you are going to find the 4 or 5 best teams in the world. And in Man City, Real Madrid and Barcelona, we are going to get that.
Okay, guys, that's all we've got time for. Sorry, I'm just conscious Jesse's got to get on the bus, and Jesse's coming back on next.
Two last questions,
two.
Okay?
Is it okay for Jesse?
Yeah.
More signings. One player you've been with is a possible reunion with Nemanja Matic. He's been left out of the Chelsea preseason tour. Is there any possibility of that happening, or can you kill that now?
I can't say any word about a player that is a Chelsea player. I can't. It's difficult. It was a little bit the same with Morata. Matic is Chelsea player, and we have to respect the player, the club. The club owner, the club manager. I don't want to be disrespectful and be speaking about the player. We don't have our door closed. We are not happy with just Lukaku and Lindelof. We need more. We wanted 4, so I would say 50% of the job done. But I don't want to say that, because it's so difficult. Everything is so difficult that I wouldn't like to be in Ed Woodward position negotiating, because everything is really difficult. So maybe we don't get 2, maybe we get 1, but at least we need one player to give us a little bit more a bit more options. The squad needs that balance. We have players that they belong to the squad, but they cannot play football for the next 3-4 months. Marcos Rojo, Ashley Young, Luke Shaw, if Zlatan stays, we have 3 or 4 players that only by the end of the year they can be back to football. So we need 2 more players, I would say, at least 1. But I don't want to say Matic, I don't want to say any other name because I don't think he's correct to do it.
Okay, last question.
Hola.
Yeah.
Hola, José, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes, Antonio.
Buenas tardes.
Ha dicho Marcelo hace un rato que para él no supone ningún morbo especial jugar contra usted, que tiene cariño, que le ayudó mucho y que el morbo es una cosa más de la prensa. Para Mourinho, tiempo después, ¿qué significa entrenar cerca del Madrid, jugar contra ellos la semana que viene, jugar un torneo oficial dentro de un mes?
Entrenar cerca, ya lo sabíamos hace 3 o 4 meses, nosotros y el Madrid lo sabíamos, y si estamos aquí es porque no es ni problema para nosotros ni problema para ellos. Algunos de ellos nos vienen a visitar aquí, ya he pedido también permisión para poder ir ahí y me han dicho que cuando quiera, por eso si estamos aquí no existe ningún tipo de problema. El partido amistoso es, como yo decía antes, para mí es un entrenamiento. Jugar contra los mejores o entrenar contra los mejores es muy bueno, pero no voy para ganar, voy para entrenar, voy para jugar 45 minutos con 11 y al descanso cambio y otros 45 minutos para otros 11. Y pienso que también bueno para Real Madrid entrenar contra nosotros. El partido de Supercopa es una historia un poquito diferente, es una competición, ellos quieren ganar, nosotros queremos ganar, y para mí no tiene morbo.
Okay, the photographers can stay in for the first question, then we'll ask them to leave. The press conference is embargoed until half an hour, so nothing to go out live. Okay, if you'd like to put your hand up.
Okay, you recently got Romelu Lukaku. First of all, what does he bring to the team going forward for this season? What do you expect from him? And second, in the past, you've been compared to another player that you had previously. What do you think about those comparisons, and do you think he's that type of player?
I don't compare at all. One had his history, and this one is still in the beginning of his history. What he brings was hopefully goals. He's the kind of player that everybody knows that he's a striker. So we are not speaking about a multifunctional player or a player that we can adapt or we can create doubts about positions on the pitch. He's a striker. So normally strikers, they score goals. And the reason why he is so important and he was difficult to get is exactly what he did in the Premier League. Because obviously there are other good strikers in football, but the Premier League is a very specific habitat, a difficult habitat for strikers. Normally they need some time to adapt, and Lukaku plays in the Premier League for the last 4 or 5 seasons. So now he comes to a club with different responsibilities than Everton or West Bromwich Albion. And I think he comes in the right moment of his career because he's still a young player, but he has years of experience. in the Premier League, also with the Belgium national team. Is now his first step into Champions League competition, which was also his main motivation. So the fact that we qualify for Champions League maybe played also an important role.
Okay, can the photographers now leave, please? Thank you.
Jose, do you think you had a lot of draws last season, particularly in the league, although you had a great unbeaten run? Is he the sort of player who can turn those draws into the wins?
Let's try. He's not a player that participates a lot in the building up. He's a player that normally plays in the last third, and we had so many opponents, especially at Old Trafford, that they decide clearly to defend in their low block, in their defensive thirds, closing spaces, playing with lots of defenders and defense midfield players, and we had just on Zlatan that target man, but by his qualities he was dropping back, he was coming in between the lines, he was participating in that building up. But really, I think especially for the characteristics of the Premier League, we need a target man, which is not Martial, which is not Rashford. We have options, good players, but target man, the clear nine, the one that is comfortable to play